On the news this morning, President Buhari vows not to leave office as a failure. Rivers State Chief Justice pardons 10 prisoners. Police arrest suspect and shooted dead a final year student at Rivers State University. Obasanjo tasks politicians to focus on nation building in closed-door meeting with Uche Secondus. On the foreign scene, UN report says Taliban carrying out door-to-door manhunt. I am Ifeimi Andrew. President Muhammadu Buhari has vowed not to exit the government as a failure at the end of his second term in office in 2023. President Buhari made the commitment on Thursday during the National Security Council meeting in Abuja. The National Security Advisor Babagana Monguno communicated Buhari's pledge to State House correspondents after the meeting. He said that Buhari expressed readiness to make more changes in the security architecture if he is not satisfied.
Also made it very, very clear that he's not ready to exit government as a failure. He's not going to tolerate that. He's made changes and is ready to make further changes if he's not satisfied. He's completely determined to ensure that there's a turnaround in the fortunes in the theater of operations. We also address the issue of the prevailing situation, which is widespread issues of hunger. The president is not oblivious to the pains of the people and is working with the vice president and other members of council. Is going to employ the relevant ministries, departments and agencies of government to address this issue. As far as is concerned, it's also an emergency situation that
he said large numbers of Boko Haram fighters are surrendering in the northeast owing to the relentless activity of the security agencies.
Well, what I expect is for the Nigerian people also to forge a sense of oneness, unity. Let's put aside whatever suspicions, apprehensions or agitations that exist, because in the context of the 21st century, you can't deal with these emerging crises in a cut and dried manner. We have to use everything at our disposal, all the elements of national power, including the population. The wider community needs to work with the security agencies to deal with these problems. Responses we can't act on stale intelligence.
The Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Simeon Amadi, has granted pardon to 10 persons serving jail time at the Port Harcourt Correctional Center. Justice Amadi gave the pardon on Thursday while conducting jail delivery exercises on inmates that have spent more than 5 years in prison. The exercise was stalled halfway due to missing files of inmates and discrepancies in their offences. The Chief Judge, however, ordered for a meeting among relevant authorities to ensure that the issues raised are addressed before the next jail delivery. Justice Simeon Amadi said magistrates in the Rivers State Judiciary should visit the Port Harcourt Correctional Center to release inmates with minor offences. Correspondent Sebiru Wire reports that the Chief Judge of Rivers State also advised the released inmates to be of good conduct as they unite with their families. Earlier, the controller of Nigeria Correctional Center in Port Harcourt, Alex Odita, also spoke on how the move will decongest the center.
I believe that today, as you leave, the inmates in this consular center will be happy, because when the consular center is decongested, the facility is less restive, and the inmates will rekindle their hope that if they are not released today, when you come next quarter, they are likely to be released. So I welcome you as you perform your official function.
A state high court in Port Harcourt has stayed the execution of another high court that delivered judgment on the release of 150 inmates. Recall that the Rivers State government, through the Ministry of Justice, sought to set aside the judgment. But when the matter came up for ruling on an application seeking to stop the execution of the said judgment, Justice Chiwendu Nwogu ruled that the suit is for public interest and that an appeal has been filed by the state government. Lawyer who filed the suit, Nasiru Ipiloye, said he will appeal the ruling, staying the execution of the judgment that released his client. Rivers State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of a suspect in the shooting dead of a final year student of the Rivers State University. Spokesman of the command, Namdi Omani, who did not release the identities of the suspect and his victim, said investigation is ongoing.
I am aware the situation has normalized. We have arrested one of the assailants and recovered the locally made gun, including some cartridges. Investigation has been ordered by the Commissioner of Police. The person arrested is helping us, and then the late boy has been declared in mortuary. What I have now at my disposal is the next case, and that's what I'm giving to you. As we progress in the investigation, I will get more details and get back to you.
The university PRO confirmed the shooting on Thursday morning. Our correspondent gathered that the shooter is a student, popularly known as Peruzzi. He was arrested by the school security officers who handed him over to the Olu Divisional Police Headquarters. In the meantime, the Rivers State University has dispelled online reports that the school is unsafe following the shooting. The university, in a statement signed by its registrar, Sydney Inyinda, urged parents to ignore the reports. Rivers State Ministry of Education says it has started refunding the 2021 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination registration fees to students in all public schools in the state. A statement said principals of public schools who are yet to submit bank details of their students should do so without delay. It also called on parents and guardians to reconcile bank details of their children and wards with relevant school authorities. Governor Nyesom Wike on Thursday signed 5 bills into law. The bills are Prohibition of Open Grazing and Rearing of Livestock, Value Added Tax Bill, the Child Rights Act Protection Bill, the Rivers Resident Registration Bill, and Renaming of Infrastructure Bill. The governor, during the signing of the bills, said the Value Added Tax Bill will address states' over-dependence on the federal government to fund projects.
State is not in support of this. Then we must check. Something must be fundamentally wrong with the leadership of that state. If any state government does not support this, then we have to change that. The citizens of that state have to go and re-examine what is going on with their leadership. So I want to sincerely thank you, and we are going to stand by this. And today I've told the chairman of the River State Revenue Services to send demand notices to all the companies. And of course, we are going to forward today our data to Mr. Speaker for the withholding tax.
Governor Wike also spoke on the importance of the Prohibition of Open Grazing and Livestock Rearing Bill, as well as other bills.
Open grazing is no longer fashionable. Even our brothers in the north have agreed we must have to say, look, you cannot allow these herdsmen, cattle are going to our farms to destroy our farmland, having problems with our farmers. Cattle rearing is agriculture, it's business. The Child Rights Amendment Law, with this, the family law will have to commence immediately. Also, the naming and renaming of infrastructure law. If we have identified prominent sons and daughters of River State who, in their own time, had made contribution to the development of the state, we must have to honor them by naming certain infrastructure against them. Then, and of course, the Residence Restoration Agency law. This was because of the insecurity ravaging this country.
The Rivers State government says it will embark on massive sensitization on the open rearing and grazing prohibition law. Commissioner for Agriculture, Dr. Fred Bakol, in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka, said that the law is not targeted at a group, but to address the issue of herders and farmers' crisis. Dr. Bakol also says that the law will ensure food security in the state. He, however, called for support from residents for effective implementation of the law.
This law has been passed today. The law is so draconian, it's so tyrannical, and we will reach out massively to the people and sensitize them, make them understand what they need to do, the pros and cons of this law, and also to make them understand what it is all about, making them know that it is not geared towards causing problems, but solving security problems, not allowing people to carry arms. The committee on this will be inaugurated very soon by the governor of the state, and we are praying that everybody should show gratitude to this law and to what the governor have done, the signing of the bill today, and we want synergy, we want understanding.
Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, says oil firms operating in the Niger Delta have defaulted in their statutory remittances to the NDDC to the tune of $4 billion. Akpabio made the claim yesterday at the weekly ministerial briefing held at the State House in Abuja.
or the federal government is owing a little bit also of his own part that it should do to the NDDC. I believe that with this forensic audit, we will begin to offset some of those things, working closely with the Ministry of Finance in tranches. There are plans to pay those debts, and I believe that they will be cleared. I want to see a balance sheet of NDDC that is bankable and collect a major loan to build a factory or an industry to employ people as part of what we must put in place, which is the post-amnesty initiative.
The EFCC has released former Abia State Governor Senator Theodore Orji. The senator was reportedly on his way to London when he was picked up by the EFCC operatives at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport on Thursday. The EFCC said Orji has been interrogated over corrupt financial dealing while serving as governor between 2007 and 2015. The EFCC said it has asked Orji to report at the EFCC headquarters again on Friday for the continuation of his interrogation. Meanwhile, the lawmaker, currently representing Abia Central Senatorial District at the Senate, has denied being detained. Still ahead, Obasanjo tasks politicians to focus on nation building in meeting with Uche Secondus amid PDP crisis. Stay tuned.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has asked political elites and the federal government to focus on the security and economy of the nation rather than the current agitation about the 2023 general elections. The elder statesman made the call on Thursday when he met with the PDP National Chairman Uche Secondus at his residence in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Despite the current situation, which he described as bad but not unredeemable, Obasanjo is hopeful that the country will be great again with justice and equity. In his remarks, Secondus commended the leadership quality of the former president and one of the founding fathers of the main opposition party, the PDP. He expressed confidence that despite the recent disagreements within the party, the PDP is emerging stronger ahead of the forthcoming elections. After the closed-door meeting, which lasted about 2 hours, Obasanjo and Secondus were received at the boardroom of the Olu Obasanjo Presidential Library by members of the PDP in Ogun State. In business, Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige says the NMA has waded into the industrial face-off between the striking resident doctors and the federal government. The Labour Minister spoke on Thursday after a meeting with President Buhari at the State House. He told State House correspondents that the government would invoke no work, no pay charter on the striking doctors, as it is illegal for the doctors to have embarked on a strike without issuing adequate notice to the government. He also said he would be leading a federal government delegation to meet all the critical stakeholders in the medical sector today in Abuja. In entertainment, U.S. pop star Britney Spears is being investigated after one of her home staff alleged the singer had struck her. California law enforcement officials said the employee made the claim after a dispute at Ms. Spears' home on Monday. Ms. Spears is alleged to have slapped her employee's mobile phone out of her hands during the encounter. The Ventura County Sheriff's Office said it will send its inquiry findings to prosecutors for consideration of misdemeanor. The singer's lawyer denied the allegation, calling it overblown. In sports, PSG are yet to decide if Lionel Messi will make his much-anticipated debut in today's Ligue 1 game at Brest. Since Messi hasn't played any game since he joined PSG last week, but it is in full training with PSG, boss Mauricio Pochettino said the squad hasn't been decided yet.
And now we'll bring you news from around the world.
A UN document has warned that the Taliban have stepped up their search for people who worked for NATO forces or the previous Afghan government. It said the militants have been going door to door to find targets and threatening their family members. The Islamist group has tried to reassure Afghans since seizing power, promising that there would be no revenge, but there are fears that the Taliban have changed little since the brutal 1990s. On the news this morning, you heard that President Buhari has vowed that he will not leave office as a failure. Rivers State Chief Justice has pardoned 10 prisoners. The police have arrested the shooter of a final year student at the Rivers State University. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has tasked politicians to focus on nation building in a meeting with Uche Secondus amid crisis in the PDP. On the foreign scene, you heard that a UN document has warned that the Taliban have stepped up their search for people who worked for NATO forces or the previous Afghan government. The news was edited by Enoho Ogbeviri. Contact our newsroom on 0818-900-0017. For more stories, visit www.nigeriainfo.fm. Cloudy weather expected in Port Harcourt this morning. My name is Ethemi Andrew. Good morning and thank you for your time.